Hey y'all, this is Melissa, licensed clinical social worker and mental health therapist, here today to talk about plants and mental health, and specifically how we can use mindfulness as a therapeutic technique to improve and promote mental and emotional wellness in the midst of our plant care. So let's get started. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is a skill that we can use in order to focus on, bring awareness to, and be grounded in the present moment. We're allowing ourselves to experience sensory input and thoughts and feelings without judgment right here, right now. This is really helpful to practice as a distraction from things in the past or in the future that may be causing us to have anxious thoughts or feel overwhelmed or just cause general emotional distress. Practicing mindfulness regularly can also train our brains to consistently focus on the present moment and reduce experiences of anxiety or depression or other symptoms or problems related to our mental or emotional health. So one of the ways that you can intentionally practice mindfulness, especially as a beginner, is to focus on sensory experiences. And that's how we're going to practice together today. So what I'd like you to do to prepare for this exercise is to grab one of your favorite plants that you can hold in your hands or in your lap, and then we're going to get started. So now that you have your favorite plant, I have my golden pothos, which is one of my favorite plants here in my office. What we're going to do is try to focus and ground ourselves in the present moment. And you may have thoughts or feelings that come up during this exercise, and that's okay. The goal is not to clear your brain or open your mind or anything like that. It is just to sit still and to notice the things that are happening for us internally and the things that are happening externally via sensory experience, and really trying to approach any of that experience with objectivity, meaning we're not judging ourselves for having a thought or an experience or judging any sensory input that we experience. We're just going to take it as it comes, allow it to happen, and to focus our minds on any of that experience, internal or external, over the next couple of minutes. So taking the plant that you've chosen, either to have here in front of you or to be observing where it is in the room, first I want you to focus on the sensory input of sight. So taking a look at your plant, what do you notice about its color? Here in my golden pothos, I can see sort of the deep green jade of its leaves, but speckled with these yellow golden streaks and even a little bit of a brighter white color on some of the more variegated leaves. And I want you to focus on the shape of your leaves. Are they rounded? Do they have various points or extensions of the leaf shape? What is the leaf shape? For me, it's sort of this almost rounded arrow-like structure on my golden pothos. So now I'm not only noticing the leaf color and the variegation, but also the shape of the leaf. And then notice what any of its like vines or stems might look like. Do you notice nodes? Are you giving some time and attention and thought to the structure of the plant? What does the soil look like? What color is it? What can you observe and with your eyes, with your sight, to notice and appreciate about your plant? Next, we're going to think about the sense of smell. This one's requires a little more effort and work to notice, but does your plant have any smell? Perhaps you've chosen a flowering plant that gives off a scent. Maybe you notice the scent of the soil, that sort of damp, earthy smell. Maybe you are noticing other smells in the room that just happen to be part of the ambient environment. For me, I don't notice a particular smell. This plant here has not been recently watered, so I'm not getting that earthy kind of moist smell from the soil. But I'm just kind of noticing the absence of smell, which is also a way that you can tap into the sense of smell. So next we want to gauge our sense of touch or feeling. So perhaps you feel your leaves and you notice that they feel sort of waxy or smooth, or maybe you have a leaf with different kind of texture. Maybe you have a velvety sort of philodendron that you're enjoying, or Maybe you can feel that the stems are quite firm, or maybe you can feel that the leaves are a little soft, indicating that it might need a bit of a bit of a drink. Maybe you feel the pot that the plant is in. Perhaps it's a smooth and cold ceramic like the one I'm holding. Maybe it's a nursery pot and you kind of feel the texture of the plastic and the lightness of that pot. Maybe you have a pot with texture, or a decorative design that is raised or relieved, and so you can kind of notice and feel what that's like in your hand. But using the sense of touch can also bring you kind of grounded in this present moment and just noticing what you're experiencing. You may also notice some sensations or feelings in your environment, perhaps the chair that you're sitting on, or the carpet below your feet, or something like that. Any kind of sensation that's related to touch that you might be able to notice and experience and appreciate. And then next we want to go to sound. This one also takes a little bit more effort, but perhaps you notice the ambient sound of an air conditioner or a heat furnace that's in the background. Maybe you have some music playing. In this moment, maybe it's the sound of my voice as we go through this exercise together. Maybe as you move your plant, you can hear some of the leaves sort of touching one another and creating a bit of a sound. Maybe you are noticing just the absence of sound. Again, that can be still a way that you're noticing your current experience when it comes to the sensory, the sense of hearing and sound. You can also use the sense of taste if that's interesting to you. It doesn't apply as readily in this exercise unless you find yourself with a piece of gum or having a snack or taking a drink, or you're just noticing the absence of taste. But it's important during mindfulness to use as many senses as possible to kind of ground you into what you're experiencing in the here and the now. And of course, for those of us who love plants, it can also help us to notice new things about our plants, appreciate aspects of them that perhaps we've taken for granted in the past, and just enjoy them in a new way. And again, as we focus on what's going on in this present moment, we're sort of distracted from anything in the past or the future that might be causing us to have anxiety or racing thoughts or any kind of emotional discomfort or pain. So feel free to pause this video here and take your time to take a few more minutes to use your sensory input to notice, admire, appreciate, experience your plant. And I'll meet you over in the next segment. You can also practice mindfulness in your daily or weekly plant care while you're participating in plant care activities like watering, misting, administering pest control products, feeding your plants, rearranging them, etc. This would look like as you come to each plant to administer care and provide nurturing, you're just doing exactly what we just did in the previous exercise and allowing yourself to take in and notice what thoughts or feelings come up for you about that plant, what sensory input comes to you in terms of the way the plant looks or feels, or what you're noticing about its leaf shape or its color or its current health status, or the soil. Is it wet? Is it dry? How is it looking in its pot? Does it need to be replanted? Just allowing yourself to take it in a non-judgmental way and enjoying and appreciating your plant experience. This can also help make plant chores a little more enjoyable and feel less burdensome, less overwhelming as we're going through the exercise. One thing to keep in mind if you're incorporating mindfulness into your plant care is that paying attention to our plants and noticing things about them can sometimes bring up observations that signal that we need to provide different plant care or treat a problem with our plants. So as you're practicing this mindfulness, you may notice a tear in a leaf that you didn't notice before, or you may notice some drooping or yellowing, or you may notice pests that you didn't see prior. And it's easy for those observations to cause us some mental or an emotional distress. The practice of mindfulness is to approach our observations without judgment. So if you happen to notice things during your mindfulness plant care that cause you to feel overwhelmed or anxious, allow those thoughts and feelings to come and then let them move on. You can certainly put that awareness into your pocket so that you can address the problems with the plant later. But ultimately, what I want you to keep in mind is that observation, that present mindfulness, has now given you an opportunity to take better care of your plants in the future, which will ultimately be good for your plants and be good for you. I hope you found this video about plants and mindfulness helpful and a way to incorporate a new skill or tool or technique into your plant care, into your routine, so that you are utilizing plants as a way to further benefit your mental and emotional well-being. I appreciate your time and for watching this video, and I'm looking forward to sharing more tips and tricks about how plants affect our mental health and how our mental health affects our plants in the future. Thanks so much.